to the Read-Aloud Revival podcast. This is the podcast that inspires you to build your family culture around books. Hey, Sarah Mackenzie here. Okay, I never do this, spontaneously record something and just throw it up into the podcast, but it's New Year's Eve and I just couldn't resist. Today is December 31st of 2014, and I really wanted to touch base with you right before the new year. We are working hard on more episodes for the podcast, and the 2015 season will start sometime in January, probably toward the end of the month. So keep your eyes peeled for those episodes. They're going to be awesome. We have a really fantastic lineup of guests. Okay, so here's why I had to touch base with you today. I'm just wondering, are you hoping to form deeper connections with your kids in the coming year? That's my big thing. The one thing I'm focusing on as a mother, really strengthening the bonds I have with my kids. If you subscribe to Flourish, my newsletter, you probably saw my recent article on the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. That book has really shaped how I'm going into 2015 and just moving forward, being as intentional as I can about the things that matter most. If you didn't get that newsletter, I'll put a link in the show notes of this podcast so you can get yours. Well, if you're listening to this podcast on New Year's Eve, Happy New Year. And if you're listening to it after the new year has begun, hang with us here. You can start a reading streak like I talk about in this episode and see immediate and long-lasting results right away. It doesn't really matter when you start as long as you start today. Here's the deal. The One Thing by Gary Keller is a book that challenges you to figure out what is the one thing that will make the biggest impact toward your goal, whatever that goal is. The premise is basically there is one thing that you can do that will move you toward the direction you want to go more than any other thing. Well, here's an example. In 2015, I'm presenting at all 4 great homeschool conventions, as well as for a group of homeschoolers in Denver. And I also have this whole book bubbling up inside of me that I'm trying to let come out, even though it's a little bit crazy to fit in around the edges. The one thing I can do best to prepare for those talks and to get this book onto paper is to write every day. That's the one thing I can do which will have the most impact on both of those things. Writing every day would be better for me than anything else I can do. Hanging out on Facebook, checking email, talking on the phone, editing photos for a blog. So even though those things are good things to do and they have their place, they are merely distractions unless my one thing for the day is done. Writing every day for 30 minutes. So let's apply that same idea to our intention to form more meaningful connections with our kids in 2015. There are myriad ways to do this, and reading aloud is only one of those, though I happen to think it's one of the very best and most powerful. It's my one thing for 2015 when it comes to my role as a mother. I want to read aloud every single day, even if we only get in 5 minutes. Did you hear the episode I recorded with Alice Ozma, writer of The Reading Promise, My Father, and the books we shared? That was hands down my all-time favorite book that I read in 2014. In the book, Alice talks about the reading streak, a challenge her father and she embarked upon to read aloud together every day without missing a single one. It started as a 100-day goal, but then it turned into a 1,000-day goal, and the streak ended up lasting nearly 4,000 days. And it really had a profound and lasting impact on Alice's life, and I'm willing to bet on the life of her dad as well. So it's December 31st, and tomorrow we start in on a whole new year. Why don't we start the year with a reading streak? I'll do it too, and you know what? I'll admit that in December, I did not read to my kids every day. I let it slide off the tippy-top priority list, and I'm not super happy about that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to print off a year-at-a-glance calendar and stick it on the fridge. And every day, my kids and I read aloud together. Even if it's only for 5 minutes, I'll put an X on the calendar, and we'll see how long we can make that chain without breaking it. If we do break the chain, no worries. We'll just pick up the next day and we'll start the chain again, and we'll see how long we can make that chain. At the end of the year, we'll have a whole lot of X's on that calendar, adding up to hours and hours of time spent intentionally loving on our kids, building up their holy imagination, connecting them with big ideas. and forming a really strong family culture. I know it will be some of the best time I've spent all year, so it's worth being intentional about here at the front end. Now, you can start this at any time of year, and honestly, you can use any calendar for that project, but I did find one that's pretty simple and nice to look at online that you can print off for free. So I'll link to that in the show notes, as well as Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, just in case you need a book recommendation for yourself for the new year. That's an inspiring one. And I'll also include a link to Flourish in case you missed that newsletter I sent out a couple weeks ago, because I talk a little bit more about figuring out your one thing. If you're on Facebook, make sure you join the private Read-Aloud Revival community there. There are over 600 people in that group, and we are encouraging each other and inspiring each other, having some awesome conversations. And I'm pretty sure there are several people there who are already planning on running a reading streak in 2015 so we can all band together. Now, if you're not on Facebook, I get that too. And don't worry, you can still get all the encouragement you need from the Jumpstart Challenge and from others in our Read-Aloud Revival community in the comments of podcasts. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Go to readaloudrevival.com, click on episode 16, and get whatever links you need from that post, those show notes. While you're there, leave a comment to let us know that you are in for the reading streak, and we can all encourage each other and root each other on in 2015. Now, 2015 is going to be a big year at the Read-Aloud Revival. I've hinted at it before, but there is a team of people working hard right now to create an amazing membership site for you that will provide workshops, cheat sheets for the podcasts, live author events, just generally some fantastic resources to help you build your family culture around books. We'll open the doors there as soon as we can, sometime early 2015. So stay in touch and we'll keep you posted. I wish you all a happy, blessed, beautiful, and most of all, intentional 2015. I love watching God's plans unfold in the lives of people who love Him, and I cannot wait to see and hear about what He's doing in yours. God bless you, friends, and Happy New Year. Say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Which book do you like to read?
I like my orange bookie.
You like your orange bookie. Oh, yes. Your little orange Bible bookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you have ketchup on your face?
Ketchup on your face, Miss Kenzie.
Ketchup on your face, Sarah McKinsey. Happy New Year.
Bah.
Okay. Go finish your lunch.